And welcome. It's Hump Day, and you're on Grumpy Roadie. And joining me today, as always, is Steve. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure as always. Especially since we got nothing else much to do, right? At least me.
True enough.
I mean, at least you still got some gigs happening, right?
Yeah, well, there's lots of stuff too that I have to, start learning as well. So Vectorworks is my next project probably to start working on. As far as learning how to use it, I've been using CAD all this time, and now the decision's been made that we're going to use Vectorworks. So,
well, yeah, Vectorworks is kind of the industry standard, more or less, right?
Oh, so. Yeah, I completely agree. And so, yeah, that's what I'm really up to as far as learning that right now. So slow and steady, but there's a really great database of YouTube videos, luckily, that even Vectorworks has been passing my way. So, it's just little by little. It's going to be a long time until I get to where I was with CAD. That's all.
Yeah. So, but maybe not as long as you think,
Oh yeah, when I started CAD, it was like brand new to me as far as just the whole, doing drawings and stuff like that. So it's just learning how to take those same procedures and basically do it in Vectorworks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know how to do CAD. You just have to find out where is the button in this software to do what I want, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm already finding there's a few things that are kind of the same, anyways, as far as some of the commands and such. So. Don't think it'll be too terrible, but it's not anything that I've been really pushing myself on either, just quite yet. So, little by little.
Yeah, I've been going to school a lot too, mainly doing Unreal.
Yeah.
Getting myself up to speed with virtual production and playing around with that a little bit. Teaching myself like 3 different programming languages on the side.
Yeah, well, you gotta do something, right? To get rid of A, the boredom, and just B, to keep your brain, stimulated.
Well, in my case, I tried to think of it like how to keep my brain distracted.
Yeah, sure.
But if I look at my bank account and I know there's no way in hell I'm gonna make rent, it's like that's kind of stuff I got to distract myself from. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So, but yeah.
We will see what happens. I hope events come back soon.
Well, I was just mentioning to you before the show, too, that there's been an announcement, I guess, that Wonderland is planning on opening in May, but I don't see how they would possibly be doing, their stage shows and stuff like that. I'd be surprised by that.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I can see how they could do rides and stuff, if they space people far enough apart.
But how long will the lineups be? If, as far as like, are they going to be required to sanitize between every single ride? Like that somebody actually sits down in, or like I'm just really, really curious to see what the protocol is going to be as far as what people will have to do when they go into the park. And I would imagine that they will more than likely only admit a very small percentage of what the capacity of the park would be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But still the whole social distancing thing and stuff like that. I'm sure that they'll probably leave it to the people coming in to be responsible for it. I don't know how you could possibly police that, anyways.
Yeah, you can kind of go like no mask, no admittance. Obviously, that you can do, and you can hire people, instead of having the stage performers. Have them be sanitizers, really literally wipe down all the hand surfaces after every contact.
I mean, that's a big property. So that in itself is a full-time job, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, but there is other positions in the park that are going to be left unemployed, like where you can't have as much audience interaction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think it's a great idea to use those people in that role. At least try and keep them working and such. But the thing that I wonder about is that they don't exactly pay a great wage to begin with, whether you're a tech doing shows or whether you're just somebody in the park, period. So I got to wonder if they're going to have difficulty actually retaining staff this summer because of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it won't be easy for them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no doubt. And they do have kind of a reputation of not being the best employer, which to me, I don't even know how that could possibly be. When you really look at the amount that that park is profiting or has in the past, you know, you look at how much it is even just to go for a day. It's like what, 65 dollars, and that's not including any food or parking or any of the like pass sort of things that they've got where you can skip to the front of the line and stuff. Like
Yeah.
all that stuff is there, and they make a ton of money off of it. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they will allow. And I think the government's going to have to really step in to make sure that that's on the up and up, because if they have their way, they're just going to want everybody in.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I'm all for roller coasters, but I don't want to get sick doing it. Not that kind of sick, anyways. you
Yeah,
know,
that is definitely an argument. Oh,
I can
what
see
the heck?
Rorschach. I can see Rorschach behind you there doing his spins.
Yeah, he's having fun.
I take it he's probably trying to lie down or something. But yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
he's playing around with his. Right now, he's chasing his tail.
Yeah, I've got a cat that does that too. So
Yeah, what can I say?
that's a charmed life, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
So what did you think of the whole result of Trump not getting impeached? Can't say I was surprised. How about you?
no, I can't say I was surprised either. That was yeah, not surprising. What can I say?
Yeah.
I would have been surprised if the Republicans hadn't caved. If they would have actually stood up to him and said like, "Yeah, you can't do it." But no, it's not happening, obviously. So
I would think that that in itself would send a really bad message to the voters, of that party, or those that are supporters of that party, because they still haven't taken that great distance to push away Trump and all of what he kind of stood for. So I would think that at this point they would want to separate themselves as much as possible,
yeah, well,
because
I think there might be a third party on the horizon.
I completely agree. I mean, man, now is the time, if any time there was, it's long overdue.
Yeah,
That's for sure. Just somewhere in the middle would be nice. It seems like there's just total insanity on either side. So I would really hope that they would actually form a third party. Let's just hope it's not something that's highly extreme. I don't know how much more extreme it can get at this point.
yeah, that's
Without it
true.
going like fully militarized or anything like that. But man, I kind of hope that there'd be somebody, like I said, in between that could just offer a better perspective.
Yeah, it's either that. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Republican Party as such is like, I don't know. It's well, I guess it's borderline fascist at some point. They need like a more moderate wing if they want to save the party at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of what we had in Canada with Andrew Scheer, running for the Conservatives, and like it was really Trudeau's election to lose the last time around, and Scheer blew it because he was just too extreme in his views as far as what he asked for. Because he probably could have taken that election if he wasn't as you know far right as he was. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the newer leader. But
Yeah,
there's already been one member of parliament, from his party, Aaron O'Toole's party, that they've basically cast aside, whatever, due to some of the hate speech and or what's considered hate speech that this one MP was basically spouting. So I don't know. I think that's a good start. That's for sure. At least it shows that that leader is taking it seriously. You know.
yeah. I mean, that's true. I guess not much more you can say.
No, no. So Yeah. And speaking of right-wing views, uh, we should probably talk about I can't remember her name, but
You mean
the
Gina
lady
Carano?
that was fired from the Mandalorian. What's up with that? I mean, how
Well,
could you go out and say a whole bunch of intolerant shit when, like, you work for Disney? Like, how did you think
yeah.
that was going to go?
I mean, I'm on the fence with in this whole scenario. On the one hand, I'm a big advocate for the right of free speech and having your own opinion, no matter how wrong you are.
Yeah,
That's a given. Also, I don't have a problem with somebody publicly declaring their opinion. Also, totally fine. The thing is, if you're going to be publicly speaking in any form, then there are certain public sensitivities you should take into consideration. You know, it's like
I don't think her.
it's like you don't scream fire in a theater, for example, in a full theater, if unless there's a fire. That's like
Yeah,
just you basically you consider the audience you have, right? Now,
yeah.
it is always a dumb ass move to compare anything to a Holocaust related imagery, right?
You think?
That is always a suicide move for anybody to do because it is the tone deafest thing you could possibly do. No matter how right your opinion or your position or your point may possibly be, you've lost from the get go when you use that kind of an analogy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I can
And
totally get that an organization like Disney wants to distance themselves from somebody like that. On the other
yeah,
hand, uh, the way Disney went about it, or Lucasfilm Disney went about it, is pretty horrific. For anybody to find out they're fired through social media is, is basically a cheap shot, right?
no, I completely agree. If you're gonna fire somebody, then at least have the guts to do it face to face.
Yeah,
Versus it's the same with if you break up with somebody, have the guts to do it
right.
face to
And
face.
and
Don't
on
do
the
it
and
through.
the on the other hand, I think maybe they should have considered other measures instead of firing.
Yeah, I don't
They
know
could have
whether there
put
was
some kind of
many.
other disciplinary measures, maybe like financial fees, or whatever, like punishment fees, or
That's
like
the part of the story that is really lacking. I find. It's hard to know whether that was already implemented or not.
that is true. I mean,
So
apparently this has been an ongoing issue, and problems with her have been going on for a while now.
yeah.
So for insiders, apparently it's not very surprising this happened. It didn't come out of nowhere. So I guess she has been warned in the past, from what I've gathered, but this is just my interpretation of the various sources. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about freedom of speech, and I'm all for that too. But I think that no matter what stage your career is in or anything like that, especially when you're kind of in the public eye, like she is, the one thing you got to take into consideration is just you know she was getting a steady paycheck and everything like that for being on the Mandalorian, which is obviously a Disney production. But
Yeah,
you have to take into consideration too, like why bite the hand that feeds you, so to speak, as far as making like I'm all for making waves
well, like
and
here's
saying
the
what you want
thing,
to and
you
stuff,
know,
but
the biting the hand that feeds you analogy is pretty bad in this case, because at no time did she make any comments aimed at her employer or at
that's very
Disney,
true. But
right? So
but
she at
as
no
a
point
as an
attacked
employee
the
though,
hand that fed her.
yes, but as someone who works for Disney, she is seen as a representative and an
I
employee.
agree. I totally agree. Right. That's why I understand that Disney wanted to distance themselves from that kind of behavior. I totally can understand that. But at the same time, considering the fallout the whole thing has for the entire franchise, It
Yeah,
begs the question if there wouldn't have been other disciplinary measures possible, that didn't require flat out firing like that.
I think this kind of ventures into other territory too. Like we've seen a lot of this from the Me Too movement over the past few years, where certain actors were, basically finally held accountable for their actions. And the one that comes to mind easily is Kevin Spacey, and they decided to continue House of Cards without him. And I couldn't get through the final season. It was just
I
horrific.
mean, I'm totally fine with people not getting slack just because they're celebrities for
Oh,
like
absolutely.
abhorrent behavior. I'm
Yeah.
totally on board with that. Not letting them get away with it. But on the other hand, there has to be a certain measured response, and using somebody as a sacrificial lamb just to kind of make a point, or to drive an agenda is not right either, So
Well, you're kind of, I mean, it's almost like comparing monsters in some ways, right?
yeah,
Because we look at the other people kind of close to that, as far as that were held responsible, like Harvey Weinstein, and many others that were kind of in that position. And there's been a lot more talk about it, but I mean, certainly not to the casting couch level that Weinstein was doing. But yeah, it's I don't I can't defend their actions. That's for sure. Just for the fact that you know women have come a long ways, but the fact that they're still putting up with that crap, and it's the year that we're in and the times that we're in, it's absolutely ridiculous.
well,
You
I
know,
think just limiting ourselves on or our view or scope just on women is a little short-sighted here, because it's
yeah,
generally a question, of people in celebrity positions, getting away with stuff that nobody else would normally get away with, just and solely because they're famous. That, and it
true.
doesn't matter what kind of misbehavior it is. Doesn't matter, what gender or affiliation those people are. It's just the bottom line is, they're celebrities, and that's why they get a free pass.
Yeah, I mean, my point to this was just there's a lot of behind the scenes unacceptable behavior that has been going on for a very long time,
Right.
that that movement kind of brought to our attention more. And by no means do I defend that. And it's I'm just glad that something has been done about it. I mean, uh has there been a possibility of overcorrection? Yeah, I mean, possibly, but that's subjective, and you got to really have your eyes open before you can really make a judgment call on something like that. And it's a case by case basis, right? It's not
Right.
anything that's just yes or no.
So New York is suing Amazon because it's saying it inadequately protected workers from COVID.
I can't say I'm surprised there.
Yeah, right.
There was a documentary a while back, just as far as like what it's like to be like an Amazon warehouse worker, and just like as far as the job satisfaction and just what they're doing and stuff. And a lot of what was kind of portrayed, anyways, from that was just that they were just completely exhausted all the time, as far as what they were doing. And I don't know if that was just because of how they were running things or what, but it didn't exactly paint a very good picture as far as workers' rights for some for a company like that. I'm not sure if they are unionized or not, but you hear about companies like that, and there's a few of them out there that we know kind of play fast and loose with the rules, that should be unionized, that aren't, and kind of play some dirty tricks, like working almost full-time hours, only to the point where you're like an hour or two before you're considered full-time, and then you don't get benefits because you're considered part-time,
Oh
like
yeah,
that kind
that's the oldest and dirtiest trick in the books. I mean,
exactly.
the whole system is set up so basically it's slavery. It's like it's modern day slavery, or indentured servitude is basically the better way to put it.
I'd be interested to know what the if those employees were treated humanely and were put in an environment where they were felt that they could succeed and would want to succeed, and possibly that means that they would have to hire more people too. What the impact of that would be as far as the pricing on Amazon, whether that would actually boost the prices up to a point where people would have a problem with it, or whether people would just eventually accept it.
Well, here's the thing, they could easily cover that with the profits they're making. The kind of revenue they've got if they invested some of that back into paying their workers a decent wage and decent working conditions.
It always seems, though, that it's like the consumers that are the ones that end up kind of paying the price, though.
Well, that's it. Do you think a CEO is going to take an income cut just to get his workers better pay? No, they're going to lay that on the consumer instead of the person who's already making $20 billion a year or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he needs to make 22 this year,
Yeah, and yet another injustice in the world. That's for sure.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'm watching too much TV. I'm watching the show Superstore right now, and it reminds me an awful lot of some of the shows I've done in the past for other corporations, where that kind of stuff is happening. And I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure you can take a pretty good guess when it comes to big box stores what I could be talking about. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways. So, now what?
Well, I mean, there's not much other news happening right now these days.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you've been following this story or not. Are you familiar with the Oberman story that's been happening in Kitchener it's been happening for ages.
No.
And basically this guy is like in his 90s now, and they want to deport him back to Germany because when he was 17 years old, he helped as a translator in the concentration camps. He was never in a position of authority and never did any killing or anything like that. But
Right.
apparently there's a strong movement to try and deport him at this point. And the guy's like 90 years old. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on that. It's something that has come up a lot over the past 20 some odd years. They've tried to possibly deport him, and he's always seemed to have skirted.
Well,
but I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, let me put it this way. As far as someone who grew up in Germany, things like that always require a very, very case-by-case nuanced observation, because not every soldier was a Nazi, right? A lot of them were just normal soldiers doing what they were told, being good soldiers, right? And they were being misused by being ordered to do horrendous things. Now there's obviously where you draw a line where you refuse to take orders, but then you get shot. So, people like that, I give them a little leeway. As far as, what they did, like for somebody who, in a position like a translator or whatever, on one side, yes, they're a willing participant in the atrocities being committed. On the other hand, they're not in a position to do anything about it. Right? They're not in any kind of a command position or a position of power. Anybody who gives the order to commit a crime, right, is in a military surrounding, is definitely accountable for that order. Now, as far as the people that are just following orders goes, it's a much more difficult and nuanced kind of consideration. Did they have the option to not follow that order, Or would have that resulted in their immediate execution, for example?
True.
So there's a lot of things you have to look at. So there's at no time can you give a generalized answer.
Yeah, it's just it's strange, just the whole thing, and I don't have any other background information whether he has, led a good life and has been, apparently he ran a business for many, many years and was a good employer and stuff like that.
Well, that's the
Like
thing.
it seems
Like,
like
did he in any way benefit, from what he did during that time or not?
yes.
If he didn't, if he just kind of after he left the army lived a normal, productive life, being a good member of society and all that, and it's proven that he had no hand in giving orders, then I could say, at this time, fuck it. Who's being served with throwing this guy in jail and wasting a whole bunch of taxpayer money on it? Now,
That's what I'm wondering too. I mean, if you're deported at this point, especially with the pandemic going on, that's pretty much a death sentence right there in a lot of respects.
well,
He's
here's the other thing, especially when you're talking about deportation. Is there a warrant for his arrest in the country they're deporting him to? Like,
I don't
for
know.
example, does Germany have a warrant for his arrest, right? If they did, like, let's say they have a warrant for arrest because they want to put him on trial to find out if he's guilty of war crimes or not, right?
Yeah.
And in Germany, you're actually presumed innocent until proven guilty. So basically, he would be deported to Germany and put on trial and given a fair trial, And if there's substantial proof that he was in the position of not committing those crimes, then he might get charged and go to jail, or whatever the judge decides. But
I'm with you as far as it does seem like a waste of taxpayers' money as far as sending him there, because I'm sure it would probably land in Canada's lap
yeah.
to
Now, I mean,
do
if
that,
there is a suspicion, that he actually had a higher up position or a position of power, or that his claim of being just a small cog, whatever, may not be true, then definitely that needs to be investigated, and needs to be put on trial to find out.
Yeah.
But if it's a pretty clear-cut case, and nobody disputes his claim, to be just a little translator who had no say in matters, if that's an undisputed fact, then what's the point? Who benefits?
I'm not sure why this has kept coming up. Like I remember hearing about this, like even when I was in high school. That's how long this has been going on,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's not like it was ever mentioned at that time, from what I remember, anyways, in any sort of context, like saying that this person is also promoting white power or anything like that, or anything like the ideology of being a Nazi, right?
Right.
So,
that's what I mean. He might have just been a soldier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
with
possibly.
Not ideology-wise driven or anything. Just a soldier who joined the army because he was a good patriot, and then the weird regime took power. Some fascists took hold of the country, and he was still a soldier in the army and couldn't get out.
I think it's still pretty amazing that like yes, that there are still people alive from that era that are still being hunted in some respects. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be, because if they did the crime, they should do the time, absolutely, right? But we're so far removed from that now in a lot of respects. Like, there's really nobody left from World War I now as far as veterans or anything like that, to the point where Remembrance Day has become more about World War II veterans, even though the whole Remembrance Day thing in Canada was set up originally for World War I veterans.
Yeah.
Right. So, but as time has passed, World War I now is, Jesus, I don't even remember the years. I think it was
14 to 18 or 14 to 19, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's over 100 years old now.
Yep.
Right. So it's pretty crazy that we're even talking about World War II at this point. But let me tell you, all of the absolutely horrendous shit that definitely is what happened in World War II, and that's why I think it can never be forgotten. As far
No.
as the atrocities that happened, that's for sure.
Well,
But
if the old saying, those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it.
yeah, absolutely, and we already see some of these things happening in the world, and and when it is brought to people's attention, it seems like either it's kind of swatted away easily, or there's financial ramifications. And the one that I'm thinking of specifically is the and I'm probably mispronouncing this, so my apologies, but the Eiger camp that's been in China for quite some time, where basically what the reports have been is basically talking about uh, reprogramming of people, and as far as their beliefs and everything. And these people are being sent to these camps to learn, like, I guess, I don't know, the way to be as far as a citizen of China. You know, kind of screwed up. I don't know if there's any physical violence or not that goes along with it if you don't comply,
Well, I mean,
but
it's indoctrination in any
it
case,
is.
right?
It is. And I'm
But
not saying
then,
that like
by
desert.
comparison, I would also say, making kids say a prayer and recite an oath of loyalty to the country every day before school is a form of indoctrination as well.
Mhm.
You know, like I'm a firm believer you should separate religion and politics because it never mixes well. It always goes badly.
I agree.
That's for one.
Yes.
And for secondly, if you want to have an actual functioning democracy, to have that, it requires one thing primarily, is well-informed citizens, people that can make informed choices. Now, the way you maintain the illusion of democracy but keep your stranglehold of power on the masses is by providing a democracy with a lousy education system that ensures that only the well-off and the elite can get a good education and the masses stay dumb. That way you can sell any kind of lies to them and they'll believe it. That way you can treat politics like you treat religion. They'll take it on faith. They won't require any proof. Because you're mixing politics and religion from the get-go, you can kind of now move from religion seamlessly to politics and supply people with an alternative truth that you expect them to believe on faith.
You got a good point there. I believe that that's happened already.
Of course it is. I mean,
and like in lots of countries, especially when they use religion to justify the means of what's happening. Not always for the better. That's for sure. It's dangerous.
That's what I mean. Wherever in the world you look, where they mix politics and religion, it's bad. It's a shithole. It literally is. It can't go well. Just starting off from the premise that you can't have a truly multicultural society if one religion is built into your political system as a primary dominant religion. That's by design unfair and biased towards any other religion on the planet from the get-go. Right?
Yep.
That being said, it automatically sets up a multi-tier society. Those that share the government religion and those that don't. Right? From the get-go, you're building a society that's designed to be divisive. That's designed to be split and broken down in little manageable chunks, while being constantly told how free and how great they are. If you're really that free and that great, why do you have to constantly be told? Because it's an illusion. It's a lie. It's indoctrination to keep you distracted from what a shithole you actually live in.
I see that a lot in the U.S.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
and like I think that's part of that indoctrination as well as the preaching of it, right? You know, we're America, we're strong, we're free. You
Freedom
know,
fries. Ugh.
yeah, freedom fries, yeah. But you know, uh, you look at a lot of other countries and that are first world countries as well, and they are, by the looks of how things are anyways, from what I can see in my research, they are actually way more free in a lot of respects. And it's not just the US, you get that can be said of Canada too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we're just way more polite about it, so it's tougher to cut through, and really it's not as in your face as it is in the US. You know, we're like I said, we're either too polite or we're just more laid back about it. So, and I gotta ask you, were you a wrestling fan in the 80s?
A little bit. Not. I wasn't crazy into it, but I did watch it a little bit.
You kind of got the Captain Lou Albano thing going on there with your beard.
Yeah, I know. Even though I was more Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was my guy.
Oh no, he was awesome. I loved him. Yeah, yeah, it's just funny because you don't see that very often as far as the elastic or whatever in the beard. So I just happened to notice it or whatever when I looked over him. That's the first thing I thought of.
Right. Yeah, it's true. I didn't even think of Captain Lou Albano. Yeah, it's kind of starting to get unwieldy, and since the barber shop is not open, I tried to kind of, when it was wet today after the shower, I kind of tried to braid it a little bit, but that failed miserably, and I just forgot to take the braid out.
Yeah, it's something with the way that the province is right now. Like where I live, which is Halton, that's now in the red zone, so things are a little bit more open. But I work in like Toronto or Peel, right? So and that's still in lockdown. So it's kind of strange living in two different states, so to speak.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I don't think though that haircuts. I don't know. Not that I gave up on that a long time ago. I bought a set of clippers, back when the pandemic started, and I've stopped going to the barber. I just get my wife to do it now. Whatever. It's saves me like 25-30 bucks a month. So why not?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna let it grow till we can open up again. That's just like, fuck it, I'm not working anyway, so who cares? I live alone, nobody sees me, my dog doesn't mind, and I don't have any money to spend on barbers.
Yeah, I was gonna say you feel judged by your dog sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. No, don't worry. You're not the only one. I feel judged by my cats too. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at comparing minimum wages across the planet. And Canada does pretty good with $21, 21 US dollars. The US says here $15. Comes in just behind Israel and ahead of Poland, Greece, and Lithuania.
The U.S.
Yeah. The leader is Luxembourg with $26, Australia with 24.80 actually, Germany with 24.15, then Belgium with 22. Yeah. The lowest is Mexico with 250. Brazil with 496. The Russian Federation with $5. Chile 730. Colombia 786. Latvia $9. Costa Rica 937. Estonia 1045. Slovakian Republic 1055. Hungary 1154. Czech Republic 1160. Portugal 1311. Lithuania 1314. Turkey 14. Greece 14.30. Poland 1436. And US 15.
Where does Scandinavia live in that? Like,
All the Scandinavians, the Netherlands we've got here with 24. Let me see. Where else? This is just the top couple.
So that's something that I guess would have to be Googled.
Yeah.
I thought that in so many ways, a lot of people look at the Scandinavian countries as kind of the leaders.
Yeah, they probably will be. Let me have a look here and see. If I can, I'm just Googling and see if I can find a list. Annual work week hours, hourly nominal.
There is no national minimum wage in Norway.
Really?
Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same all the way through Scandinavia, if that's the case.
Well, I mean, there might not be a national one, but they're probably their unions and stuff are probably going to take care of it pretty well. Let me see if I can find something here.
Actually, I just came across an article that's developed countries without minimum wage, and there's 5 of them here. There's Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland.
Okay.
But that being said, they're saying that Switzerland is pretty high. Like it's close to $25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what it is, and Norway is anywhere from about 16 to 21. Iceland doesn't really show much as far as info there. Denmark's about 20 an hour, and Sweden, it looks like it's something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, in some countries they have like minimum income stuff happening as well.
Let's see, this is what I love. Swedish law limits the work week to 40 hours, just like in the U.S. However, it also dictates that all workers are entitled to 25 paid vacation days.
Yeah.
16 additional public holidays each year. Far more generous than the U.S. standard.
Yeah.
And the Canadian standard too.
Yeah. Plus, you get you. Plus, you have the right to those from day one that you work. You don't actually have to earn those days yet.
Yeah, you don't have to go through a probation period.
Yeah, but no, basically you can start working and be sick this next day, and collect 27 paid sick days, or something. Or no, actually sick days can be longer, but you can take. I mean, whenever your vacation is approved, obviously for scheduling wise, but.
Well, that's actually it's funny you bring up vacation. That's one thing that has been a story actually that we haven't gotten to yet, and that is that the provincial government moved March break. So it's not happening in March now. They've delayed it to April. Not exactly sure. I think their reasoning behind it was they're trying to limit the spread of COVID. But that being said, it's not doing anyone any favors as far as people, like whether that's teachers, kids, or parents, for that matter, as far as giving them a break. And
Yeah.
the toll that it's taking on them, because it has not been easy as far as that's concerned. And I really have to feel for some of the parents that had already booked that time off, because it's always been that time, only to find out last week that that's not what was going to happen. In any job I've ever had, you've got you usually have to fight to get your vacation time more than anything. And so to say 3 weeks before it's supposed to happen, by the way, can I move that to April? I don't know many employers that would be very cool with that.
Right.
Not in my experience. So, but yeah, it's I think everybody loses in that respect. And then but you know who is going on March break currently right now?
Who?
The Ontario legislature.
Of course.
come on, man. Like if you want everybody to get behind something like that, then at least do it yourself. You know, be an example. How hard is that?
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
It
yeah.
affects so many people. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm just
No,
looking to see what other news there's happening, but let's just look at tech news. Anything interesting? Natural gas, not wind turbines, are the main driver of the Texas power outage. That's not surprising.
I haven't kept up much with the story, but since Biden canceled the pipeline, as
Yeah,
far as
well,
I understand,
some of the local politicians down there blamed the wind turbines for the power outage.
hmm,
But yeah,
yeah, Texas is a big state, so.
that is true.
But I know that they got some pretty severe weather as well recently with the same storm that kind of came up and hit us. So you know, they're not exactly well prepared for that kind of thing.
Right.
Um, you know, so I'm sure that probably took that into effect as you know, certainly played a factor in things. Um, and yet, you know, they're okay when it comes to hurricanes, but when it comes to snow and stuff like that, it seems to be you know, I don't know, man. I've been in Dallas before when it snowed, and it's pretty interesting to watch as far as people trying to drive. You know, they have no idea what to do. It's something, but yeah, this lack of power thing kind of reminds me of when we had our massive brownout. About when was that now? Like I want to say 17, 18 years ago, if you remember that.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. I was still living in Germany.
Oh, okay. All right. Then you got lucky. So, yeah, it was about 3 days or so without real power. And with rolling blackouts and everything like that, that kind of happened. And I remember I had my car getting fixed and everything was down. So, like, I couldn't go to a bank machine anyways to get cash out or anything like that. And besides that, the banks were already closed by the time you know, and they couldn't do anything anyways because it's
Right.
all electronic. And so like I ended up having to stay with a friend or whatever at his place because I had no way of getting home and no way to get to work the next day, pretty much, since everything was, you know, not usable. So that was rather interesting to kind of go through that. And I remember going down to the Royal York with a friend of mine. You may know John Young. We were going to do.
Yeah, I don't think I
We're,
know him.
no, he's been around. He's kind of in Toronto and Vancouver a lot. And we were going to do a reset. And basically, the client was like, "Yeah, there's no point. I mean, you know, they've had rolling blackouts, and that included the power drop too. So, so yeah, they're like, we're just gonna cancel it. Don't worry about it." But on the way up to the convention level at the Royal York, we got into like a passenger elevator, and then as soon as the doors closed, the power went out again.
Oh,
And
yippee.
luckily, we were able to open the doors and get out. But we're like, okay, that was a dumb move. Don't do that again.
Yeah,
So
that is
not
true.
not the first you know, story about getting trapped in an elevator at the Royal York. That's for sure. From all of our viewers that have actually been to that property, they know all too well the pain in the ass that it is.
That is so true.
You know what the crazy thing is that they replaced that freight elevator that goes into the Canadian room, and they still have issues, like massive issues. They replaced it something like 5 years ago, and it still breaks down all the time.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, huh?
No, they used to have cars and stuff like that get brought up, or like they used to bring the truck up in it,
Yeah, I
right,
was
and
gonna
offload
say.
from there. Yeah, but they got rid of that a long time ago. They still bring cars in every once in a while that way,
Yeah, if
like
they
if
have
you're
car shows and stuff, but
yeah. So, but yeah, it's quite something. I don't know what they're doing wrong, but you know, knock on wood. But haven't had many issues with any of the elevators at the convention center, especially if you're going to the 700 level on the south side, or anything on the north side. So they obviously did it right.
yeah, I've the south side. I've had issues before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the
Hmm.
elevator wasn't working. They couldn't get the truck in.
Really? Wow. That doesn't happen very often
No, it
there.
doesn't happen very often. I've only had it happen once, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, not much. Not much
Well,
else going on to talk about.
no. Well, hey, you know what? It's not the end of the world if we cut this short today. I mean, that's okay. It's better than us just trying to find shit to talk about, right?
Yeah. Well, and I wish I had some gear I could talk about stuff. Maybe
Oh, hey,
make.
you know
Hmm?
what? There was something I was going to let you know about, and that is there was a pretty big update for Black Magic today. I don't know if you saw it about the ATEM
Yeah, I saw
ATEM
that they
Pro or the
released a
ATEM
new
Mini
version of
Extreme.
the A10 Mini, the Extreme,
Yeah.
which is
So,
awesome. That I would so love to have that with eight inputs, two
yep.
assignable HDMI outputs, and the ISO version can record like 9 streams simultaneously to a hard drive while streaming. It's pretty good.
Also, there was the part as well about you can tether or whatever through it.
Yeah, you can
Whatever if
tether
you
to your
actually,
phone through the.
which is pretty awesome. Like if you're in a hybrid situation, you could actually use that function as a backup line if you
Yeah,
absolutely needed to. So
for sure.
bravo Black Magic. I mean, they really came out with something that's really
Yeah,
good.
they apparently really listen to their clientele, because a lot of the features they added to that one was features that people have been asking for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know,
I don't know what the cost is in Canada, but it's about a
about
grand.
the extreme ISO is I think about 1800.
Yeah, it's about a grand in the States, from
Yeah,
what I've
exactly. It's
heard.
about 1800,
So,
1800 here.
but
Well,
man, for what it does, pretty powerful piece of gear. I,
yeah,
I really
definitely.
hope that I really hope that my company decides to invest in it. It'd be pretty great to be able to do something like that, or whatever, without needing anything like a conventional switcher or anything like that,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
do it with that. So I'm kind of excited. We've got some of the A10 Mini Pros already, and they're pretty great units. That's for sure.
You have some? How many did you guys get?
That's a good question. I think we've got probably about 20 or something like that. We bought them
Wow.
in bulk. So and they've really come in handy, especially like not just for studio work, but using them for like say remote studios and stuff like that. If you're just piping people in
Yeah.
remotely, when you've got gear that's doing it,
I wish I
it's
could get
it
my
works.
hands on one.
It's yeah, it's pretty interesting. And the only thing that threw me at first was just how the software kind of interacts with it. But other than that, it's pretty great. It's just odd that you can do like there's a volume up and a volume down for the audio portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
So which if you don't have the software, you don't have any VU meters to be able to see what you're actually receiving. So
Well, but on the multi-viewer you can see it, right? If you give yourself a multi-viewer output.
yeah, I'm just saying, like in the case that I was using it in, it was basically I was using it to capture a camera and sending it to like Zoom, and that
Right.
was it, right? So I didn't actually have anything beyond that. I had like a preview monitor, but not like a true multi-view like what you're talking about,
Right.
right? So, but yeah, so that was the only thing that I noticed with that because anything that's like close to like amber or red, the audio clips a lot, and it also has like a limiter kind of built into it as well. It compresses a lot. So, but once you get around that, you kind of get it to a good spot. It's pretty awesome, I gotta say.
Yeah, bang for
So
the buck, it's hard to beat. That's for sure.
yeah, I mean, I've really liked a lot of the stuff that Blackmagic has come out
Yeah,
with
they also
recently.
brought out a new web presenter.
Yes, that does 1080, which is
Yeah, for
pretty
like
awesome.
500 US or something like that. I think it's listed,
Yep,
and it's
yep,
rack mounted
yep.
with an SDI
No,
input. That is like such a cool streaming setup. That with like one of the A10 TV studios or whatever, one of the big switchers, or
yep.
multiple of those in a rack so you can stream to multiple sources with different resolutions, different codecs, whatever.
No, it's a pretty sweet unit. I checked that one out too. And for what we were using before, I mean, most of the stuff we do is we don't do it via web presenters anymore. We're doing it all like via NDI, or the audio is done Dante. But
Yeah.
when we were using the web presenters and stuff, once again we were limited to 720, whatever. And like, sure, that's fine, but you know, you kind of want you're doing everything else in
I
1080.
was
You
gonna
kind of want to
say
be able to do that.
it was only logical that they made that thing 1080, and now it's actually really usable. And for that bang for the buck, you know.
Oh, absolutely, right? So it's just too bad that there isn't a way to, you know, if there was a firmware update that actually allowed you to make the older units do 1080, but I don't think that's a possibility,
Yeah,
given the
probably not. The
componentry
hardware
on it,
probably
right?
just physically can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad that but you're right. Like I got to say, they are listening to their customers, which is pretty great. So that's good to see. So, and I'd say the same thing about OBS too. Like all the different plugins and stuff like that have come out in the updates, they're listening to their clients a lot too, as far as what people are asking for, from what I've
Yeah,
seen from the latest updates.
yeah, it's working pretty stable actually so far. Even though
Yeah.
one of my plugins has seemed to stop working, the one I'm using for lower thirds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why.
Hmm.
I'll have to look at that. But
Maybe it's now incompatible with the upgrade, the last upgrade you did, or something like that.
yeah, something like that. I'll have to look into it. Maybe I need to upgrade the plugin as well, or change or reinitialize settings or something.
Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of those, like I said, those plugins are pretty rock solid. I've been quite impressed by what a lot of the developers have done
Yeah,
to be able to do that. And it's not just like, oh yeah, it's okay kind of for what we do. Like it's really developed around like doing shows, which is pretty awesome.
yeah, no,
Like
for
it's not
sure.
it's not like you're trying to modify it to make it work for your purpose, so to speak. So it's kind of great that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
And
I still wish I had like it's one of the Blackmagic switchers at my disposal just for inputs.
mhm,
It's either that or have more input cards.
yeah.
But
You're using DaVinci 17 now, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on 16, but everything that I've learned, from yourself and many others, as far as on that software, it's a pretty powerful tool for what you get.
It is. It
It's
is really.
damn.
It's an awesome piece of software. I really have to admire it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've been working with Premiere for, oh God, almost 30 years now. And there's a reason I switched to DaVinci after such a long time. It's like
uh,
it's
the
just
Adobe
it's just
Suite
like a
now.
Swiss Army knife. It's got everything you need in one place.
Yeah, and isn't the Adobe Suite now subscription based
It
as
is. Yeah,
well?
it
Yeah,
is.
that's the thing I think that killed off quite a bit of their business, as
Yeah,
far as
I
that's
still
concerned.
use an old version that I bought back in the day. That is officially no longer supported, but I continue to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, well, it's too bad because I think a lot of they've lost a few customers, that's for sure, just they're not the only ones that have gone to a subscription-based model.
No, for
You know,
sure. I know a lot of
lot of
people
other
that
companies have.
switched from Premiere specifically to DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah. So, gotta say, it's I've actually enjoyed learning how to do video editing.
Yeah,
I
I
never
just
thought I
need to get
would have said that.
I just need to figure out a way to get my hands on the full version.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
Hey, if you guys bought that much Black Magic gear, you might know what Black Magic gear comes with the license key and which one doesn't.
Possibly, it's just hard to get a hold of those that are the ones that are procuring the gear these days because they're not coming into the office very often.
Yeah, no, because
So
I know they used to be like every piece of gear over $500 or whatever, they packed the license with it.
yeah, I would think that we own enough of the gear at this point that we could certainly get something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, some gear ships with it. You just need to have the serial number, and then you can kind of download the full version.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I would love to get my hands on a license key.
Eventually, right? I mean, that's the goal, I think, probably for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the companies, that buy like 20, 30, 40 pieces of gear end up usually with more license keys than they need.
Yeah, generally.
And that's what I'm kind of putting my feelers out for if I find anybody who's in that position.
Well, hopefully, if anyone's listening, then maybe they can help you out.
Yeah, if anybody's got a free license key for DaVinci Resolve Studio, please hook me up, brother, sister, or dog. Yeah. Because pretty much it's all I'm doing these days is like editing video stuff, and well, I'm working on this short film documentary that we're developing, but it's still in the fairly early stages. But it sounds like a pretty interesting project that will involve a lot of like virtual production stuff and camera tracking stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if we can pull it off. It's a pretty ambitious project.
Where would you say you are in the process of things right now? As far as
we're
like
still developing the story and working out with the client exactly what the story is going to be, like the details. Because there's going to be a fairly large documentary segment in it, basically with a lot of interviews of people.
Gotcha.
And right now we sent a questionnaire to the potential interviewees to figure out what kind of stuff we can ask them, what kind of areas to focus on and stuff like that. The narrative part of the story is pretty well worked out, at least the framework. So now we just got to integrate it with the actual client story.
Cool. Looking forward to when that's a finished product, actually.
Yeah, it'll probably be later in the year, in the summer. It's fairly large, ambitious, and the way it looks like right now, it might even be an option to be a series of multiple parters.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Well, keep me, when you got something to look at or whatever, let me know, because I would love to check that out.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, right now I just got my hands on a Vive Pro VR systems with trackers, so I can kind of figure out camera tracking and virtual production in Unreal. So that's been fun. A lot of moving pieces in a system like that. And a lot of stuff to learn, but very, very interesting. Finally, something fun to learn again.
That's cool. But I'm thinking I should probably let you go, Chris. It's just past 9, and I've just gotten about, I don't know, 10 or 15 emails that I need to do now before I could call it a day for myself. So
yeah,
it's funny how it always
I got to
comes
do
at night.
that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of stuff to answer for the gigs. I need to find a dog sitter too, for a gig I got coming up end of the month. I still haven't found a dog sitter.
Have you put anything out on Facebook or any?
No, not yet. I've been asking the people that I know, and that I trust first Fortunately, none of those are available. They're all either out of town or working themselves.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, we'll have to see who I can find who knows the dog preferably, and who the dog knows. So I'll have to keep asking around.
Well, hopefully it works out for you. I mean, if I wasn't already busy myself, I'd come and do it, but you know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I'll be gone 3 days in succession, so I have to find somebody who can take him for 3 days.
Yeah, gotcha.
I mean,
I don't think my cats would like him too much.
Probably not. He'd probably have fun trying to make friends with the cats. Them not so much.
Oh, I have no doubt. Yeah, I have no doubt. I'm sure it'd be quite a bit of mayhem, and it would be fun, but
yeah,
I don't know if I've got the patience for that.
I hear you.
It's tough enough with the three of them, let alone with a dog. So, but yeah.
Very true. Very true. Well, I would
All
say
right,
on that note, we'll call it a night, and we'll remind everybody, like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you know when we're going live again. Hopefully we're doing some pre-recorded shows coming up too with some real content again, not just Steve and me blabbering like a bunch of old morons. If you got any ideas, contact us. Let us know what we should do shows about. If you got anything that you think you want to contribute, let us know as well. We'll hook you up. And on that note, keep it rocking. Day ain't over till the truck door is closed. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.